She snapped at me in front of her friends. "You can't even satisfy me, let alone provide for me." I smiled, paid the bill for myself, and walked out. That night, she showed up, crying, but my new girl opened the door. You know those moments where the room goes quiet even though the music's still playing? Where your chest feels like a locked vault and the key is somewhere under the table? That was me, sitting beneath a chandelier that looked like it was dripping with diamonds, when my girlfriend, Vanessa, stared me down and said the most humiliating sentence I've ever heard. "Mike, you can't even satisfy me, let alone provide for me." The wine glass in my hand didn't slip, but my pulse did. I saw the waiter freeze mid-step, a tray tilting like a slow-motion disaster movie. Ashley and Madison, Vanessa's boutique co-workers, traded looks like they'd been waiting for this twist. Their boyfriends, Kevin and Brad, did polite little coughs, the kind that say, "This isn't my business, but I'm not looking away either." And me, I smiled, calm and almost amused, like the universe had told a bad joke, and I was the only one who got it. I slid a crisp 40 onto the check presenter, enough for my salmon and 2 drinks, and stood up. Vanessa tilted her head, confused. I didn't argue, didn't plead, didn't ask for respect I should have already had. I just walked out. Before I tell you what happened next, and trust me, it gets wild, quick note, over 14% of you are already subscribed. I love you for that. If you're new here and you like real, raw stories with messy choices and clean endings, hit subscribe and help me get to 10,000. You'll want to stick around for the part where the ex shows up crying and someone else opens the door. Back to the night everything cracked. 8 months that looked good on paper. Vanessa and I had been together for 8 months. She was 24, I was 25. She managed an upscale boutique downtown where perfume costs as much as my entire tool belt. Me? I'm a plumber, more than that. I own the business. 2 trucks, commercial contracts, emergency calls, and a booking calendar that looked like Tetris on hard mode. The money was good, the work was honest, the house paid off. But image is a quiet thief. It sneaks in the back door, rearranges your furniture, and tells you your life doesn't look expensive enough. "Everyone at work lives in the new downtown condos," she'd say. "They've got concierge, rooftop pools, events. Our place is nice, Mike, but it's not aspirational." Our place was my house. Bought at 23, fixed every pipe and panel myself. It was solid, and suddenly not shiny enough. The first time she called my company a maintenance business, I let it slide. The second time, I asked why. She shrugged. Plumbing sounds messy. Maintenance sounds more professional. Professional, there's that word. Dinner with the suits. She invited me to that restaurant like it was a surprise anniversary plan. When we pulled up and I saw the frosted glass and the valet in white gloves, I had a gut feeling this wasn't about us. Inside, the candles were doing their flicker and flatter thing. Expensive laughter floated from the next table over. Menu prices felt like punchlines. Then Ashley and Madison arrived, followed by their guys, Kevin, digital marketing, and Brad, corporate finance. The introductions were stiff, like they'd practiced in the car. "This is my boyfriend, Kevin," Ashley said, touching his sleeve like it was a trophy. "And this is Brad," Madison added. "Finance." Vanessa smiled, turned to me, and said, "This is Mike. He owns a maintenance company." The pause before maintenance felt longer than the appetizer course. Kevin launched into Bermuda plans. All-inclusive. Oceanfront. Infinity pools. Madison swanned into Napa stories, swirling imaginary wine like there was a camera trained on her wrists. Vanessa leaned back, hungry for the idea of it. She kept glancing at me like I was a contestant on a game show failing the bonus round. "Must be nice," she said, pushing her fork into the steak like it had offended her. "Mike and I never do anything like that." I reminded her we'd been planning Costa Rica for summer. We'd literally discussed ziplining and hot springs. She waved it. "Away, that's different. That's not a real vacation, not romantic." Ashley patted Kevin's arm. "He surprised me for our 6th month. He just gets me." Brad cleared his throat like he was about to approve a loan. Napa's all about taste. Suddenly, the table wasn't a table. It was a panel interview. How much do you make? Where do you travel? What does your LinkedIn say about you? Then came the audit of me. "Mike handles property maintenance for commercial buildings," Vanessa told Brad. slicing the truth into something chewable. He's always busy. Like janitorial? Kevin asked. He didn't say it rudely, but he didn't stop himself either. I just smiled. Like keeping other people's businesses running. Kevin nodded with that corporate empathy smile, the kind where the eyes don't crease. The hit below the belt. The conversation ping-ponged for a while. I answered what I needed to, stayed quiet when I didn't. I watched Vanessa keep steering my job away from the word plumber like she was protecting a brand. When Kevin started breaking down flight points and leveraging reward tiers, I counted the number of pendant lights above the bar. When Brad talked about chasing alpha, I wondered if he'd ever opened a wall to find a pipe ruptured like a snapped bone. Then Vanessa decided to make a point out of me. I just want a certain lifestyle, she said, stroking her glass. Some men understand that. They plan real dates, not lake houses and burgers. The lake house was your idea, I said softly. It's cute, she replied, but it's not. She searched for the word like it owed her money. Impressive. Brad looked curious. Kevin adjusted his cuff. Ashley and Madison did that mouth-twisted sympathy thing. Vanessa, I said, we can talk about this at home. No, she said, her cheeks flushed. I'm tired of pretending everything's fine. What exactly isn't fine? I asked. Our future, Mike. What's wrong with our future? What future? She let the words hang like smoke. You're content with your little maintenance business. Little? I stared at her. It's successful. Compared to what? She tilted her head. You just don't have ambition. The table went quiet. The glasses had stopped clinking. And then she did it, the line that drew blood. Mike, you can't even satisfy me, let alone provide for me. It hit the table like a dropped plate. Ashley winced. Madison sucked in a breath. Even the waiter abandoned a tray at another table. Kevin looked at Brad like, are we in a movie? I could have stood up, slammed a fist, made a scene. Instead, I laughed, not the happy kind. The kind you laugh when the math doesn't math. Really? I asked. That's your truth? She folded her arms, triumphant, like I'd finally given her the scene she wanted. Just being honest. Okay, I said. Then let's all be honest. I turned to Kevin. What do you do again? Digital marketing, he said. He puffed up a little. And you, Brad? Corporate finance. What do you guys make? Ballpark. Just curious. Mike, don't, Vanessa hissed. Kevin shrugged. 70. Brad lifted his chin. 85. I nodded. Nice. Solid. Vanessa, I made 160 last year. Silence. Not just at our table. I swear, the couple behind us paused mid-bite. That's not possible, Madison said, like reality needed her permission. Plumbing's good business, I said. Emergency calls, new construction, commercial contracts. People like their water hot and their buildings dry. Vanessa's face went through 3 colors. It's not about money, she muttered. You literally said I couldn't provide for you. It's about image, Mike. There it was, the god she prayed to. Right, I said. Image. I flagged the waiter. Can I get the check? Vanessa sat up. You always pay. You just told me I can't provide for you. I laid down 2 20s. Figured I should stop trying. I thanked Kevin and Brad for the chat. Told Ashley and Madison to enjoy Bermuda and Napa. Then I walked out, slow and steady, like a man who'd just dodged a bullet he'd been romantically attached to. The night air felt colder than it was. I sat in my truck, watching my breath fog the windshield, and let the silence do the talking. In 8 months, I'd paid for dinners, bought furniture, built a life that was sturdy. She lived in my house. My house. ate the food I stocked, slept in the bed I bought, and she told strangers I couldn't provide for her. I drove home with the radio off. By the time I set my keys on the counter, my phone was buzzing like a wasp nest. Mike, I'm sorry. I didn't mean what I said. Ashley had to pay my part. Can you Venmo me back? Please answer. I'm getting an Uber. We need to talk. I didn't answer. Some arguments deserve silence. Some lessons require it. When she got to the house at midnight and tried the handle, I was in my room with the door locked. The hallway light crawled under the door like an apology. I didn't take it. If you've ever had someone embarrass you in public and then text you, "I didn't mean it," tell me in the comments what you did next. Did you forgive? Did you go no contact? I'm curious. And hey, smash that like button if you're still with me. It helps the channel more than you know. The texts, the silence, the woman from my past, and the knock at the door that changed everything. Sunday morning, the house was silent enough to hear the refrigerator's breath. I made coffee, not because I wanted it, but because hands need tasks when the mind is loud. Vanessa was gone. She'd left a note. Staying with Ashley for a few days while you cool off. The handwriting was neat, crisp, like the note itself wanted to be forgiven. I folded it once and slid it into the drawer where spare keys live. That afternoon, I went to the hardware store. It's a refuge for men who build things, the smell of lumber and possibility. I grabbed PVC fittings and a box of deck screws because being useful is a habit I don't like breaking. Mike? I turned. Emma? There she was, freckled by the left eye, hair in a loose ponytail, navy scrubs under a hoodie. High school rushed back like a song I hadn't heard in years, the way she'd passed me gum before exams, how she laughed with her whole face. What are you doing back? I asked. Moved last month, she said. Got a job at the hospital. I'm in ER nights for now. Wow, that's big. You? She asked, cart bumping mine. Still building things? Plumbing. Own the business. Her eyes did a little spark. You always said you would. That's amazing, Mike. I didn't realize how starved I'd been for that word, amazing. Not fine, not okay, but just amazing. We stood in that aisle for almost an hour, catching up between bins of ball valves and brass caps. She asked real questions, not image questions. She cared about whether I slept, how many call-outs I took, if I still saw the stars on late-night drives home from emergency leaks. Coffee sometime? She asked, as if it wasn't a big deal, as if my life hadn't just imploded in candlelight. Yeah, I said, I'd like that. We exchanged numbers. I left with fittings, screws, and the odd feeling that something just shifted in my chest, like a window opened. Vanessa's version of sorry. Monday, Vanessa came by while I was on a job, took more of her stuff, left another note. I need time to think about us. I didn't call. She texted my mom because moms are safe until they aren't. My mom called me later, laughing the kind of laugh that knows too much. Some girl called me crying about you, she said. Said she made a mistake. What did you say? That if she's embarrassed to be with a man who owns his business and house at 25, then she needs to be embarrassed somewhere else. Mom. What? It's true. You were raised better than to beg for respect. Let the trash take itself out. I smiled, despite everything. Moms know when to be gentle. They also know when to bring the shovel. Coffee that turned into 3 hours. On Tuesday, I met Emma at a little cafe that puts hearts in your cappuccino. I expected 30 minutes. It turned into 3 hours and a second round of pastries. She wasn't impressed by the truck or the number. She was impressed by the guts, by the risks, by the nights I slept in the van between jobs because morning traffic steals time, by the calluses that don't soften even when the money gets good. That's incredible, she said. How many people talk about building something and never do? I shrugged. Had to make a choice at 21. College debt or a loan for a van. I picked the van. She leaned forward. And now you own a house. Bought it 3 years ago. Her smile lit up like daylight. Mike, most people our age are splitting rent and arguing about paper towels. We talked about her shifts, the way 3 a.m. feels like a separate universe. The people you meet in the ER, the scared, the tired, the brave. She didn't glamorize it, she just told the truth. It was refreshing, like cold water after a day in a crawlspace. Before we left, she said, "You want to do dinner sometime?" Real food, not cafe cookies. "Yeah," I said, a little too fast. "Definitely." Meanwhile, in boutique land. That week, word spread at Vanessa's boutique. Ashley texted me, from a number I never saved. "Just so you know, not everyone agreed with her at dinner. Most of the team thinks she crossed a line." I didn't respond. But I pictured the backroom whispers, the "I would never" lines delivered over tissue paper and ribbon. I imagined Vanessa practicing apologies in the mirror, fixing mascara, trying to find a version of events where she wasn't the villain. Maybe in her story, I ambushed her by telling the truth about money. Maybe in her story, image was just misunderstood ambition. But life isn't a mall display. You can't light it a certain way and pretend it's different. Burgers, a movie, and a quiet house that felt full. Wednesday, Emma came over. I cleaned more than anyone should clean for a dinner at home. I grilled burgers like they were a test. The house felt different, lighter. She walked in and spun slow, taking it in. "You own this." She said it like a compliment. "Yeah, it's beautiful." I looked around and saw it the way she did, the solid floors I installed, the sturdy handrails, the clean lines of a kitchen backsplash I'd tiled over a 3-day weekend. I hadn't noticed how much pride had gone dusty. With Emma there, it gleamed. We ate on the back patio. The sun went down slow. When we moved inside and picked a movie, her hand found mine like it had a map. "Thank you," she said. "For what?" "For building your life." No one had ever thanked me for that. The last attempts. Thursday, Vanessa texted, "Can we talk tonight?" I put my phone face down. Friday, she called my mom again. Mom didn't pick up. Saturday, I took Emma to a nice place that didn't need valet to prove anything. We laughed, told stories, ordered dessert because life's short and sugar is honest. Outside her place, she kissed me goodnight. It wasn't fireworks, it was something better, warm and steady and sure. Sunday, the boutique world spun again. Ashley posted a story from a rooftop party. You could see Vanessa in the background. Tight smile, eyes scanning the room, like someone hoping the right person would walk in and tell her she was still shiny. No one did. Quick pause. If you're still here, you're my people. Drop a like so more folks find this, and subscribe if you want more long-form, true story chaos with endings that actually land. All right, the doorstep scene you've been waiting for is next. Buckle up. 1 week later, suitcases and sobs. Exactly 1 week after the dinner, my doorbell rang. I was in the garage, organizing fittings by size because, yes, I'm that guy. I wiped my hands and opened the door. 2 suitcases, runny mascara, Vanessa. "Mike," she said, voice cracking. "Thank God you're home." "What are you doing here?" "I've been thinking all week." She sniffed. "I know I can fix this. You can't just move back in. Please just listen. Ashley and Madison said I was crazy. They said I messed up, and I know I did. I let the wrong things matter, but I love you. You love me now that other people think you were wrong? That's not fair. It's exactly fair." She stepped closer. I was scared. I've never had stability. I wanted to feel like we were. She searched for the word again, elevating. "You lived in my paid-off house." "That's not what I mean." Before I could answer, headlights washed across the driveway. Another car pulled in. The door opened. Emma stepped out, holding a paper bag of Thai takeout and a bottle of wine, face bright like a Friday. Vanessa turned. "Who is that?" "That's Emma." "Emma who?" "My girlfriend." Vanessa's face went white like a wall with fresh primer. "Your girlfriend?" "Yeah, we've been seeing each other." "For how long?" "About a week." Emma reached us, clocked the suitcases, the tears, the storm. She handled it like she was in triage, calm, eyes soft but clear. "Hey," she said, giving me a quick kiss. "Pad Thai, spring rolls, the peanut sauce you like. Everything okay?" "Everything's fine," I said, not looking away from Vanessa. Vanessa was just leaving. "I was not leaving," Vanessa snapped. "Mike, we lived together." "You moved out," I said. "I needed time to think." "That's not the same." "You packed." "That is the same." Emma took a breath. "Hi," she said, offering a small, polite smile. "I'm Emma." "We haven't met." "I'm Vanessa," she said, chin lifting like she was reclaiming a crown. "Mike's girlfriend." "Ex-girlfriend," I corrected, and watched the word land. Vanessa's voice cracked. "Tell her we're working things out." "We're not." "Mike," Emma asked quietly, "do you want me to give you two a minute?" "No," I said. "You should stay." Vanessa looked between us, eyes glassing over. "This is unbelievable." "You replaced me already?" "I didn't replace you," I said. "I chose someone who respects what I do." "I respect you," she lied, and it sounded like a knock in a quiet room. I was wrong. "You were honest," I said. "You showed me who you are." She stared, waiting for a loophole. There wasn't one. After a full, heavy minute, she grabbed her suitcases, lips pressed thin, and went back to the car. The trunk slammed like a period at the end of a long, messy sentence. Emma and I walked inside. She set the bags down and didn't ask me to explain. She just wrapped her arms around me and let the house be quiet again. We ate spring rolls on the couch, legs tucked under us, and I told her the whole thing, the boutique, the image, the line at dinner that still rang in my head like a cheap bell. "She sounds lost," Emma said. "Not cruel, just true. But you don't have to be her map." I breathed out a laugh. "You always talk like that?" "Like what?" "Like a person who actually means it." She grinned. "All night, every night." Part 3 is the wrap, the final fallout, the gas station encounter, the last phone call, and the truth about what providing really means. If you're still here, drop a comment with your favorite line so far. I read them all. And subscribe if you haven't. Part 3 lands right now. 6 weeks passed. Life re-leveled. Time is good at sanding jagged edges. Emma and I found rhythms, her ER nights, my early calls, shared breakfasts at weird hours, quiet walks when the world was half asleep and honest. Vanessa tried twice more. A blocked call from a number I didn't recognize. A DM from a burner account. I can change, I've changed. But change isn't a sentence, it's proof. And there wasn't any. Ashley texted again once. For what it's worth, most people at work think what she said at dinner was foul. She's paying for it now. I didn't ask what that meant. I didn't need the backroom show. I'd already seen the main performance. Flashbacks I needed to look at. Sometimes I'd catch myself replaying the early months with Vanessa, not to miss her, but to learn. The good parts were real, the late-night drives for fast food, her head on my shoulder during thunderstorms. The bad parts were signposts I ignored. The way she introduced me as in maintenance, the eye roll when I came home with boots I'd worn hard, The way she'd say, "Let's take pictures somewhere nicer," as if the house needed to apologize for not being a skyline. There was a day she'd come home giddy because a customer had told her she looked like she belonged in New York. She sat on the counter swinging her legs and said, "Can you imagine living in a place where everyone gets you?" I'd said, "I get you." She'd smiled and kissed me, but the way she stared past me told the truth. She wanted the idea of herself more than the person she was with. That's not a crime, but it's not a home either. Work that doesn't flinch. Meanwhile, the business didn't stop. Pipes still burst. Boilers still failed at 2 a.m. New builds still needed rough-ins. I love that about my work. It doesn't flinch. It doesn't ask for likes. It just asks, "Can you fix me?" And when you can, it pays you in money and in a quiet, useful pride. I brought Emma along once to pick up a water heater because her shift ended at dawn, and she wanted to see the glamorous side. She laughed when I lifted the box like it was a dance partner, then insisted on buying us both breakfast burritos the size of bricks. In the parking lot, she tapped the dash. "You know," she said, "I've never felt safer in a truck that smells like PVC primer." "High praise," I said. She grinned. "It's a vibe." The gas station confession. About a month and a half after the dinner, I stopped for gas on my way to a site. I was in boots and a hoodie with the company logo. A car pulled up on the other side of the pump, and guess who stepped out? Kevin. Digital marketing. Bermuda boy. He recognized me instantly and did a little awkward wave. I nodded back. "Hey," he said, and looked exactly like a guy about to apologize. "Hey." "Listen," he started, shoving his hands into his pockets. "About that night." "It's done," I said. "No hard feelings." He shook his head. Man, that was brutal, what she said. And honestly, when you said what you make, I was impressed, like, respect. I didn't know." "It's okay," I said. "You weren't supposed to." He glanced at the ground, then back up. "For what it's worth, she's been miserable. Keeps asking Ashley about you. Moved back in with her parents. I think she thought she could flip the narrative. It didn't flip." I tightened the gas cap. "That's unfortunate." He laughed once. "You're a better man than me. I would have said something worse at that table." "I almost did." He nodded. "Well, congrats on everything. The business, the house. Heard you're seeing someone new." "Yeah," I said, unable to keep the smile out of my voice. "Emma." He smiled back, sincere. "Good for you, man." We went our separate ways, two men who'd shared a silent, unfancy understanding. One last call. A week later, my phone buzzed late. Private number. I didn't pick up. A voicemail landed. I didn't want to listen, but curiosity is a small, rude animal. "Mike, it's me. I wanted to say I'm sorry in a way I didn't say before. Not sorry because you make money. Sorry because I made the money the point. I wasn't embarrassed of you, I was embarrassed of me, of how I grew up, of wanting things and thinking that meant I was worth more if other people saw it. You were solid, you were safe. I'm sorry I made that sound small. I didn't save the message. I didn't need to. You can accept an apology without reopening a door." What providing really means. People talk a lot about providing. They make it a number, a title, a building with a receptionist. But providing is bigger, quieter. It's paid off roofs and heat in the winter. It's food in the fridge and a truck that starts in the cold. It's being the person people call when something breaks, and then showing up. Emma gets that. She calls what I do infrastructure and makes it sound like a love language. She brags about me, not loudly, not performatively, just truthfully. "He owns his company," she'll say when someone asks, "and he can rebuild a bathroom in a weekend." She says it like a flex because, honestly, it is. Sometimes, when she's getting ready for a night shift, she'll put her stethoscope on and say, "Let's go, keep the water in the pipes and the blood in the veins." And we'll laugh like a couple of nerds who love function. The door that stays closed. One afternoon, weeks after the gas station, I came home to a package on the porch. No return address. Inside was a shoebox, literally, with a note. "Left this at your place. Thought you might want it back." It was a photo of me and Vanessa from month 2. We were on my porch swing, summer light making everything look kinder. I'd forgotten the picture existed. I slid it into a drawer with the spare keys. Not out of spite. Out of respect for history, and for the present that's better. Emma came over with grocery bags and found me washing up in the kitchen. "What's that?" she asked, nodding at the open drawer. "Just an old photo." She kissed my cheek. "We'll make new ones." We did. Epilogue, consequences, and calm. Ashley messaged one more time, months later. She's okay, doing therapy, says she's trying to rewrite the way she thinks about worth. I typed "good" for her and deleted it. Not because I didn't mean it, but because some sentiments don't need to be sent. I put my phone down and picked up a wrench. Work waited. Life did too. That night, Emma and I sat on the back steps, the ones I built with my own hands. The sky was doing that soft violet thing it does before stars commit. She leaned against me, warm and right. "You know," she said, "it's funny." "What is?" "That the opposite of image isn't poverty. It's substance." I laughed. "Put that on a mug," she nudged me, "on a toolbox." We sat in the kind of quiet that doesn't need to be filled. Somewhere, a neighbor's sprinkler ticked. Somewhere, a life was being lived loudly for the feed. Here, ours was being lived for us. Sometimes the best revenge isn't a comeback or a clapback or a perfectly lit photo from a rooftop with a skyline and a hashtag. Sometimes the best revenge is a paid-off house, a business that doesn't flinch, and a woman who says, "That's incredible," when you tell the truth about who you are. And sometimes, if you're very lucky, it's spring rolls on a Friday and the kind of kiss that makes you forget you ever sat under a chandelier with people who thought price tags were personality. If you made it this far, you're a real one. Drop a "built not bought" in the comments so I know who read to the end. Hit like if the story landed for you, it helps the channel a ton. And if you're new, subscribe to join the family. We're pushing for 10,000, and I've got more long, true stories queued up, some messy, some beautiful, all honest.